Hey guys, today you're going to be reading, or I'm going to be reading to you, an expository or scientific text called Cave Creatures by Jocelyn Cranfield. And this is an expository text about creatures and things that you will find within a cave. So in your Nearpod today, you're going to focus on our learning standard, which is explaining relationships between two or more things in this scientific or expository text based on information from the story. So we're going to think about that, and I'm going to read chapter 1 to you. And as I read chapter 1, I want you to think of these questions or think of the answers to these questions and listen for some information from the text that's going to help you answer these questions. I want you to think about, what do all caves have in common? We're going to read to find out what caves have in common. So I want you to tell me, what do all caves have in common? I also want to know, how have animals in the Twilight Zone adapted to this environment? So we're going to read about an environment that they call the Twilight Zone and some animals in there. I want to know how they've adapted to that environment. And also, how are these plant-based nutrients brought into the cave? So what do these creatures survive on, and how are these things brought into the cave to help them and survive? So just follow along with me as I read Cave Creatures. I'm going to read to you the introduction. Remember, this is an expository text. That's the genre we're focusing on this week, which is a scientific text. It's factual. It's going to have those text features like pictures, diagrams, captions, and things like that. So you know the author is trying to teach you something about, in this instance, caves and the creatures that live there. Okay, so as I begin the introduction, just follow along. Caves are found all over the world. They often extend far beyond their entrances and go deep beneath Earth's surface. At first, a cave might seem to be just a dark, empty space. If you shine your flashlight inside the cave, you'll probably just see emptiness. However, chances are that if you go inside, you won't be alone. Caves can be on the coast, in the forest, or under the desert. Some are made out of limestone and others of marble or lava. Some caves are full of beautiful stone formations, and others are full of smelly, poisonous gases. However, the world's caves all have one thing in common. They are a haven for animals. And I like this word haven right here. A haven is like a safe place for someone to live. So they're saying that a cave is a haven for many animals. Some of these animals are visitors to the cave, while others are permanent residents. Many of these creatures have adaptations to help them live in a cave environment. Adaptations are special features that help a living thing survive in particular conditions. Caves of all sizes. I like that heading. Explorers have discovered more than 50,000 natural caves in the world. Some caves are single tunnels, but others are systems of connected underground spaces. The deepest known cave is the Krubera Cave near the Black Sea. It is at least 7,188 feet deep. Wow. And then you can see here it's saying compare its depth with the heights of some tall buildings. So I see that the Great Pyramid of Egypt down here in this caption, in this picture diagram. I also see the Empire State Building, and then this Burj building in Dubai. But the Krubera Cave is much deeper than all of those. Come on, you can see how much deeper it goes into the earth. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, we're going to begin chapter 1. Remember, we're going to continue to think about how the animals have adapted and how these nutrients get down to the animals who live in the caves. Some animals, such as bats, skunks, and raccoons, and snakes, visit caves for shelter or sleep. They stay near the cave entrance, where it can be warm in winter and cool in summer. These animals are called troglodytes, or cave visitors. Troglodytes spend just part of their lives in caves, but can't survive without going outside to get food. The Mexican free-tailed bat is a troglodyte. It is nocturnal, which means that they stay awake at night and do their things at night, and roosts in colonies, so a bunch of them gather together, hanging from cave roofs during the day. At dusk, it flies out of the cave to catch and eat insects. So that's one way that this creature, the Mexican free-tailed bat, has adapted to the environment. Like most bats, the Mexican free-tailed bat has an adaptation called echolocation. Echolocation to help it find its way back in the dark cave. The bat makes a high-pitched squeaking sound, then listens for an echo. It uses the echo to figure out where things are. In some places, bats hibernate in caves during the winter. However, they don't spend the whole winter asleep. They usually wake up from their dormant state around every 15 to 30 days for short periods. A place where a bat hibernates is called a hibernaculum. It's an interesting word. In cold climates, bears sometimes spend the winter in caves too, and they hibernate as well. The air inside the cave is warmer than the air outside, helping insulate animals from the cold. Farther into the cave is the cool, damp twilight zone. That was in our question. How have animals in the twilight zone adapted to this environment? There is very little light here, so green plants can't grow. Many of the creatures that live here are troglophiles, or cave lovers. They can spend their whole lives in caves, but they can also survive outside. Troglophiles include certain types of spiders, earthworms, beetles, frogs, and crickets. Food in the twilight zone is scarce or hard to find. The animals living here can't rely on their sight alone to survive. They use other senses, such as hearing or touch, to help them locate food and find their way around. Their adaptations help them to live in these conditions. The glowworm, the larva of an insect called a fungus gnat, is also a troglophile. Its adaptation is the ability to light up its abdomen to attract prey. First, the glowworm spins a web out of sticky droplets. Then it switches on its light. The glowworm catches its insect victims in the web until it needs a meal. And you can see this picture right here. The glowworm hears a noise and it can turn off its light so they can't find him if that's not the prey that he's trying to attract. How interesting. Let's read on to about some more of these creatures. The New Zealand cave weta, a cricket, lives in colonies on the undersides of cave roofs. It has extra long antennae, up to 7 times longer than its body. These antennae help to navigate and to feel around for food. With its tiny body and long legs, these agile insects can leap more than 6 feet. Wow, and there he is, the New Zealand cave weta. What do animals eat in a cave? Plants can't grow in the dark, but plant-based nutrients are brought into caves in different ways. Rain and underground streams wash in twigs, leaves, and seeds and insects. The droppings of animals such as bats and cave crickets include recycled plant material. These are important sources of food for permanent cave dwellers. Molds, fungi, and bacteria break down all these organic material and make it suitable for microscopic animals to eat. These microscopic animals are eaten by large cave dwellers. The larger animals are then eaten by other cave predators. So it gives you all kinds of information, as you can see in our expository text about this cricket here, the New Zealand cave weta, how they adapt to silence here, and you see these extra long antennae that these insects are having, and the African cave cricket communicates secretly using his wings to send out these messages, and we can even read a little bit about cave lions. We also see this diagram here, the cave food web. The nutrients in guano or bat droppings, yuck, and other materials are broken down and recycled by some cave creatures and microscopic organisms. These creatures are eaten by larger predators. So you can see in this diagram here that the earthworms, bacteria, all these guano, the minerals, all this stuff is on the cave bottom floor, and these creatures eat off of that. Insects eat these small creatures, And then we have the even bigger insects like we read about who eat on the smaller insects. And then we see our bats and frogs who are eating those insects. So it just goes down the entire food chain. So great job. That was chapter 1. Remember, I'm looking for what all caves have in common, how the animals in the Twilight Zone have adapted to their environment, and how our plant-based nutrients brought into the cave for these animals to eat and survive off of. Okay, good luck, and tune in for chapter 2 right after you finish your 3-question quiz.